The mystical wonder of bats. Bats are not only unique because of the thin shape. With its unique and mysterious kinetic abilities, it has heated the heads of scientists enough that once two biologists who went to experiment on these bats were fooled. There was a priest in a town called Pavia in Italy. His name is U.S.A Spallanzani. He was not only a priest but also a biologist. In 1793, almost 200 years ago today, there was a bell at the top of the church tower in Pavia, the town where he first turned his attention to bats. At dawn, hundreds of bats would return to the tower after their night flight and join the bells. One day, the priest Mahashaya, who was nearby, climbed the tower right then and caught many of the bats that were rushing there, filled his bag and came down with them. The priest tied the wires and threads into his room and left the bats he had brought in a bag which he had prepared for his experiment in that room. Before letting them out, the priest did not remove the eyelids that were covered with wax so that the bats' eyes could not be seen. Blindfolded bats flapped their wings and flew all over the room. But to the pastor's surprise, not a single bat hit the tangle of wires and threads strung across Spallanzani. As easily as bats with eyes, they flew in the tangle built by Spallanzani. Spallanzani's head was hot. The continuous search of scientists about the mystery of bats started from here. Seeing this wonder, Spallanzani got worried and chased all the bats out. Bats flew out with wax smeared over their eyes. Desperate to know the nocturnal personality of these bats, Spallanzani climbed the bell tower and stuffed the bats into a bag. Many of them he had caught the day before and left blindfolded. Their eyes were still covered with wax. One or two of them were killed and stomachs were found and examined by Spallanzani. All of them were full of worms in their stomachs. So don't these bats need eyes to hunt flying insects? Spallanzani bats have a mysterious sense of something invisible to humans. With its help they can move and hunt without the need of eyes. He announced his conclusion that day and night are the same for him. The priest's experiments and conclusions made other scientists angry. The devotees who came to listen to the priest's religious teachings grumbled when they saw that the priest was interested in these nocturnal creatures. He was saddened that he was spending all his offerings on bats. At that time there was a scientist named Charles Jura in Switzerland. Spallanzani was shocked to see experiments conducted on bats. He got curious and climbed on the back of the bats. When Jura bats were blindfolded, they flew carefree without any trouble. Jura also put wax on the ears of the bats as a joke, saying, "Let's see." Surprise! The bats, like the blind, kept hitting the windows, doors, and walls like blind men, and the bats hesitated as if they were unable to win the game. Jura really looked strange.